Charlamagne the God.
Yo.
Back on Vlad TV.
Back again.
Baltimore riots. Still going on to a certain degree. There's actually some news this morning where I guess the van that carried him to the station took an extra stop that was never reported, that they just found out from cameras and stuff like that. I mean, number one, how do you feel about that whole situation in Baltimore?
When I first got hired on Power 105.1 to do the Breakfast Club, I was driving up here from South Carolina, driving up here to, stay in New York, and my alternator blew out in Baltimore. And I was so fucking terrified. I was scared to death. It was the middle of the night. I'm like, God damn. I had to call AAA. They towed my car to the nearest mechanic. And then it was like this hotel that was literally a half a mile from the auto shop. And it was like a trap house hotel. I'm talking about like cash only. I took the chair and put it behind the door after I locked it. Like, it was real fucked up. But, the thing about Baltimore, especially the riots, and I've been telling people this all week, I don't have to agree with something to understand why that something is happening. I think rioting is pointless, but I also think that the killing of black men, the way that the police are doing, is very pointless too. And I believe in cause and effect. I believe that for every action, there's a equal or opposite reaction. So I think that pointless, senseless, dumb shit, like what happened to Freddie Gray, begets more pointless, senseless, dumb shit, like the people of Baltimore burning down the city. And, I call them people. I hate the fact that Barack Obama calls them thugs. I hate the fact that the mayor of Baltimore, Mayor Blake, who's from there, called her own people thugs and criminals, because they're so quick to point the finger and say that, but they're not quick to point the finger and say that about the police.
Right.
That did this to Freddie Gray.
Real talk.
Those are the thugs and the criminals. If you can be so quick to say these people out here rioting and looting are thugs and criminals, then be quick to say that about the police.
The police, yeah.
And I don't even like to say they're rioters or looters. I call them non-peaceful protesters.
It's not like this just started last year or the year before, like, in terms of police, killing people and so forth and getting away with it. But for a very long time, there was such a stranglehold on media outlets that, it's kind of like, it's a little bit different. You've had blogs and you've had independent outlets and stuff like that, but they've always had somewhat of a limited audience. But now with social media, something like this starts to spread virally very quickly, and it doesn't even really matter whether CNN covers it or not, because suddenly everyone's sending it to all their friends. And you have all this attention over shit that I think has been happening the whole time.
Oh yeah, before social media, you remember when, I'm not old enough to remember this either, but I read. When riots and stuff used to happen, they'd have blackouts. So the rest of the country couldn't see what was going on in LA or wherever the riots were happening, because they didn't want copycats. Like how you see what's going on in Baltimore now. So this week they were protesting in New York about it. They didn't want that throughout the rest of the country. So they would have what they call media blackouts. So you couldn't see what was going on. But like you said, now with social media,
you can't pull that shit
You
anymore.
can't pull that shit no more, man. And what do you expect? And I hate when people be like, they shouldn't be burning down their own city and their own community. Yeah, you may be right. But I always say, you don't be surprised how somebody reacts when you do something to them. Like somebody might walk in this room right now and push me, and I may not do nothing. You know what I'm saying? But somebody may walk in the room and push you, Vlad. You might pull out a pistol and blow their motherfucking head off. Right. Everybody be like, damn, Vlad, you went too far. But no, this nigga shouldn't have pushed me. You never know how somebody's gonna react. And guess what? The black community has been pushed and pushed and pushed and pushed. What do you expect?
Well, the interesting thing about this, Game actually wrote like an essay, I guess, about this. And he was talking about how he was 11, 12 years old during the LA riots. And he was out there looting, jumping on cop cars, but then he talked about once it was over, all these stores that his parents would go to were no longer there. And if you wanted to go to groceries, or you wanted to go to a corner store, or if you wanted to go shopping for anything else, you now had to drive 5, 10, 20 miles out, and how much pressure this actually put on his family and families around him. The aftermath of actually burning down your own community.
Hey, I get it. I totally understand what Game is saying, but guess what, man? That's victim blaming. All of these buildings and those stores and everything can get built back up. Those buildings have insurance on them. Freddie Gray's never coming back.
Yeah.
And you insult the intelligence of the community when you say, we don't know what happened to this young man. We don't know how this young man's spine was severed from his neck like he's a character in Mortal Kombat. We don't know how he got 3 cracked vertebrae, how he got an injured larynx. Really? Y'all don't know? Now the story came out this morning that a prisoner in the van said Freddie may have caused this on himself. What? You really going to insult my intelligence like that? And guess what? They also say Baltimore does this thing called rough rides, where they say that they'll handcuff you, put you in the back of the van, then drive crazy on purpose. They don't buckle you in and drive crazy on purpose. Well, if that's the case, that's premeditated murder. That's premeditated murder. If the police knowingly are handcuffing you, putting you in the back of a van, not buckling you in and driving crazy on purpose, that's premeditated murder. So whether they beat him up and caused that to happen, or they did that to him in the back of the van with the Baltimore rough rides, either way, it's motherfucking murder. Either way, that is the act of thugs. You know what I'm saying? That is a criminal act. That's some ISIS shit.
Yeah.
That's torture.
Yeah.
That's a Wu-Tang torture technique. I'll fucking handcuff you and put you in the back of a van and just drive all crazy and keep beating you and beating you and beating you. Come on, man. How do you expect people to react? That's all the riots are. Riots are just a reaction.
Well, they say that riots is the language of people who don't have a voice.
Yeah, it's the voice of the unheard. That's what Martin Luther King Jr. said, and that's absolutely right. Because it's like, yo, y'all don't hear us.
What?
Y'all don't hear us. Y'all keep killing us. Y'all know it's wrong. And the police officers keep getting off.
Yeah.
And now that we're tearing shit up, now y'all want to pay attention?
Yeah.
But to me, a riot to me is just an emotional reaction.
Did you see the picture that Meek Mill put up, after he got beat up by the police?
Yeah.
Meek feels very strongly about this because he's dealt with this before in Philly. He's been a victim of it.
Mm-hmm.
And he had not a back and forth, but he had a very strong reaction to some of the words that Donald Trump said. Why do you think there is such a drastic point of view between a Donald Trump and a Meek Mill? Because on one level, these are two rich men, right? Meek Mill flies private jets. You know what I'm saying? Like
Doesn't matter.
But I'm playing devil's advocate a little bit here, right? And what I'm saying is, Meek Mill is not a broke, poor guy. You know what I'm saying? Like he's not a broke dude who's still living in the hood. Like he actually is like the 1% these days. You know what I mean? And yet there's these days.
As I said, there is one race, and that one race is the human race. But I guarantee you, Donald Trump's experience has been much different than Meek Mill's experience. Meek Mill is new money. Meek Mill just got rich. That has never happened to Donald Trump. What you're posting right there, getting his ass kicked by the police, Donald Trump has never had to worry about that.
True.
So that's why when he looks at this situation, he can only see it from the perspective of, look at them burning down all those buildings that taxpayers' dollars are going to have to pay back. The city is going to have to pay back. You're not looking at it from the perspective of, that's the effect. The cause is Freddie Gray being killed, and not just Freddie Gray being killed. We've watched Michael Brown. We've seen Walter Scott in North Charleston. We are just seeing all of these different situations where the cops are getting away with the murders of us. So this is just a reaction like, nah, man, we tired of this shit. We fed up. Donald Trump don't understand that. He don't see it from that perspective. And in a way, it is racist in a way. And I don't even like to play the race card, but it is racist in a way because you can't look at those cops, And I heard, I don't know if this is true, but I heard 4 of the cops were black and then 2 of them were white. So it's not hard to play the race card. It's hard to play the race card in that situation. But Donald Trump is just looking at it from the perspective of the cops were doing their job. Who knows what that young black man was doing? He probably was up to no good. Look at his police record.
Right.
Look at his long extensive police record.
Yeah, I mean, he has a long history of arrests and drugs.
He's just disposable. He was a thug anyway. He wasn't going to benefit society in any way. But these buildings are what matter. You can't burn down all this property. So it's like, damn.
He's a property guy.
He's a property guy, exactly. So to him, he's looking at all this real estate getting fucked up. Real estate means more to Donald Trump than a black man's life. You know what I'm saying? That's all it boils down to.
Speaking of Meek Mill, him and Nicki are allegedly engaged. What's your thoughts on that?
Hey, Meek's doing the right thing. You can't be mad at Meek Mill for that one at all. If you're gonna lock one down, that's the one to lock down. I mean, it's like every rapper has a fly celebrity chick.
Well, I mean, that was his dream girl. His crush.
That's what I really love about this situation, because I'm big on the law of attraction. I'm big on your thoughts becoming things. That's why I always say the things you want to happen in your life, constantly speak about. The things you don't want to happen, don't speak about at all. So to see Meek Mill a couple years ago tweet he was gonna make Nicki Minaj his girl, or he's trying to marry Nicki Minaj, whatever it was, and to see this possibly coming into fruition, I salute that man. And that's why I always tell people, guard your thoughts, because your thoughts do become things. The things you want to happen, you better constantly speak about. Don't come around me talking about what can't happen and what's not going right, because guess what? That's what the universe hears. The universe hears you saying, oh, this ain't working, that ain't working. So it keeps presenting you things that aren't working.
Well, you know what's interesting in rap right now, which I think is dope, is you are now having these rapper power couples. You know what I mean? And I don't mean with both parties being rappers, but you have rappers now getting married, number one, which you didn't see very much before, and married to successful women.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Of course, you have Jay-Z and Beyonce, you have Swizz and Alicia, and you potentially could have Meek and Nicki. I think that people are actually, at long last, are actually going, not trying to be players like, their whole life. They're not trying to be, 60, 70 years old and still chasing after girls and, actually.
Unless you're Diddy.
Unless you're Diddy, right. Yeah, Diddy's still doing it. But I mean, and that's what I'm saying. He's sort of like the older generation, even though he is he older than Jay?
I think it might be the same age.
About the same age. Yeah, I mean, that's what I'm saying. But Diddy's generation, you know what I mean? But now you have the younger generations that are kind of like seeing the Jay and Beyonces and seeing what, Swizz is a little bit younger. And of course, Meek is even younger than that. And I think that it's actually setting a very good example to the fans who are like, okay, well, maybe I will get married. This guy who I'm looking up to, who I'm listening to every day, wants to get married, wants to have a family, and ain't just trying to fuck everything that moves.
Nah, marriage to me is fly, man. I've been married for some months now. And, I've been with the same girl for 17 plus years. We got a 6-year-old daughter, and I actually enjoy going home, having that stability, and honestly, man, chasing all these other chicks and fucking all these other chicks, that shit is just a distraction that you don't need. Then it becomes a unnecessary financial burden that you don't need. Because when you out there living filthy, and you got a situation at home, you got to keep these other birds happy. You can't just have these birds out here chirping. You know what I'm saying? So these girls may need money for rent. They may need, car payments, whatever, because we grown. Like, I'm not out here fucking, 21-year-olds. You can, you put your dick in their mouth and keep it moving. You know what I mean? But then you might end up on Twitter or something.
Right.
I'm fucking girls that's my age. You know what I mean? 32, 33, 34. These girls got real life bills.
Right.
And situations that got to be dealt with. I don't got time for that headache. Because then you start feeling like a dick. You're like, man, the fuck? I'm giving her this, but I got this at home. So it's just like, and then you feel guilty. So it's like, I just gave her this, so I got to go home and do triple.
Right.
You know what I mean? It's like, man, nobody got time for all that stupid shit, man. I like going home. I like being with my wife, figuring out ways to keep the family happy. And plus, I've read a lot of studies that say married men are way more successful. And I can honestly say, since I've done those vows, my trajectory has done this. I mean, I was doing decent before, but I'm seeing things that I never even was envisioning in my mind.
Well, because there's a level of partnership in marriage that isn't there in dating.
Or
Just isn't.
I agree.
Yeah. Well, speaking of Nicki, you guys interviewed Safari first. He broke his decade-long silence, with you guys. And I interviewed him as well. One of the things that kind of keeps sort of popping up was that Nicki has always had this platform of, I write all my own rhymes. I remember there was this thing that happened maybe 3 years ago with Ransom, where, you know, someone, you know, like I think it was TMZ, like was saying, oh, you know, Ransom was saying that he wrote your rhymes or something, you know, even though that's not what he said, it was just misinterpreted, you know. And she's like, what? Like, I'm the only bitch who writes her own rhymes. Like, you know, ain't no other female rappers out there. Like, blah 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 blah. Like, you know. But then when Safari interviewed with you guys, and you asked him about that, he said, everyone needs help. You know, he is an executive producer on I think 2 of our albums. You know, I spoke to him about it. You know, he didn't say it, but, you know, he basically said it was a collaborative effort, you know. And then I think, like, you know, a little bit afterwards, we interviewed Sophia Body, you know, the chick who he's messing with these days. And she just kind of blurred out, like, Safari writes all Nicki's rhymes. And, you know what I mean? It was all this backlash over and stuff like that. I mean, why do you think that this is such a big issue, and why, you know, people don't, like someone like a Nicki doesn't want to just say, like, yeah, Safari helped me with, you know, with a lot of my rhymes, and, you know, we worked on the shit together, and we were, you know, a couple for a long time, and this is the outcome.
I mean, yo, man, I think Nicki's a boss, and I think she takes pride in her work, as she should. She takes pride in her art. And I mean, if you were actually writing your own rhymes, you wouldn't want nobody taking credit for that either. And I mean, plus, you know, Sheek Luch said on the record one time, Sheek Luch said, anybody that's writing your rhymes might as well be holding your microphone, as far as I'm concerned, or something to that effect. And when you look at a lot of the female MCs in the history of hip hop, I think one of the reasons you don't never put a lot of female MCs in the greatest of all time conversation is because we know
of the rhymes,
they weren't writing their own rhymes.
Well, Kim, Biggie was writing.
Yeah, Kim was writing. Biggie was writing for Kim. Hov was helping Foxy.
I
mean, I think MC Lyte definitely wrote her own rhymes.
Right.
You know, who else wrote their own rhymes? Remy definitely writes her own rhymes.
Remy definitely writes her own rhymes.
You know, I know for a fact Tink, who's a new female artist, she definitely writes her own rhymes. Lauryn Hill wrote her own stuff. But those, to me, those are the ones you mentioned with the best. If you mention a female at all, you mention the ones I just named. To me, You say Light, you say Remy, you say Lauryn Hill.
Right, but the big ones are Kim and Foxy.
Yeah, the big ones didn't write their own records, but they don't get mentioned in the greatest of all time. So I think Nicki is I think she's very cerebral with the way she moves, knowing that, yo, I write my own stuff, and I want everybody to know that because I want y'all to mention me with the best. Don't just put me in the female MC category. I'm one of the best, period.
Well, but I mean, you know, when I started listening to some of Safari's stuff after our interview, I'm like, this guy's good. Like, you know what I mean? Like this guy's actually pretty dope. Like,
okay, I'm hearing this, you know, and I like Safari.
Like you heard the song Burner?
Yeah, but this is the thing. He's got good lyrical content. I just think his delivery is whack. You know?
I like his delivery.
I mean, listen, I'm not knocking it.
I like it. Well, and you also got to understand that he actually hasn't been rapping in a very long time.
Nah, I think he has. Him and Nicki used to be a group.
But which was when?
I don't know.
Exactly. It was like a decade ago. I'm saying, but he wasn't recording and putting stuff out. You see what I'm saying?
I put it like this.
Nicki, he even said that Nicki did not want him to put out music.
I don't blame her. I mean, if he was helping her, you know, with a ball head there or a hook head there, cool. But I just don't think he's an artist. He's a personality. It's something there with him. It's definitely something there with Safari. It's something there, you know, because it's something that's keeping people's attention past the I was Nicki Minaj's boyfriend thing. You know, it's something that is keeping people's attention. And I've heard people say what you just said. I like Safari. He's dope. I think
people want him to win.
I want him to win.
Yeah.
I want him to win because I root for the underdog. You know what I'm saying? But you're lying to yourself if you don't look at Safari. Sometimes you're like, that was corny. What the hell was that? You know, like sometimes I see him on Instagram. I'm like, what the fuck was that just now? You know what I mean? So it's like, hey, I want to see him win, but he does come off slightly corny sometimes. You know? All right, he comes off really corny sometimes. But then sometimes he's in pocket. So he just got to find a way to eliminate the corny. But I guess that's the process of finding yourself, finding your groove. You know, we're kind of watching him grow before our eyes. So I think sometimes we're going to see growing pains.
Yeah, I mean, last time I was with Safari, like, he was doing an open mic in L.A. You know what I mean? So it's kind of like, it's interesting to see someone go from rolling with his girl to award shows to doing an open mic.
He's got to press the reset button.
Yep.
You got to start all over. You got to go say what's up to these radio stations. Got to go say what's up to these DJs. You got to pop up at these open mics. Shit, he was on Wild 'N Out. He's going to be on Wild 'N Out this upcoming season.
Oh, word?
On MTV too.
Okay, that's what's up.
It's bad for him, though.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah, my salute to my dude Chico Bean. It's bad. It's bad for. It's really bad for Safari.
So he should have done Wild 'N Out.
He didn't do Wild 'N Out. You got to see it. I don't want to give it away.
All right, we're not going to give it away.
But yeah, it's bad.
All right.
It's bad.
Have you heard Young Thug's album?
Absolutely not.
The Barter 6?
No.
Great album.
I proudly say
Great album.
Hey, man.
You know, I'm going to say this on tape, and everyone is going to trash me for this. You ready for this? You ready for this? Whenever I say shit like this, I keep hearing it for years to come. Young Thug's album as a complete project. I'm not talking about song, whatever else, but as a complete project. I actually liked listening to Young Thug's album completely from beginning to end more than I've liked any Lil Wayne album. Lil Wayne has had incredible songs, you know what I'm saying, but as a complete piece of art, Young Thug's album is great from beginning to end.
I'm gonna be honest with you, I haven't heard it. I have no desire to hear it. I have nothing against Young Thug. Don't know the young man. Just not interested in his music. I don't know what the fuck he's saying. Maybe it's just not for me. I'm 34 years old. You know what I'm saying? I like rappers that I can actually understand, rappers that can articulate very well. And the shit he's on, I ain't on it.
I mean, he harmonizes very well.
Listen, I think his voice is dope. I think his voice is like an actual instrument.
Absolutely.
But other than that, I'm cool on the Barter 6. I thought that I'm just not into what Young Thug does. I thought the whole concept of the album was whack. I think to take even though Lil Wayne did it with Juvenile and he called his album 500 Degrees,
right.
because he said he was a little hotter than Juvenile and Juvenile was 400 Degrees. It wasn't a series. You know what I'm saying? Carter is Lil Wayne's last name. It's an iconic series, and you just jump out there and say, hey, I'm going to call my album the Carter 6. That shit's kind of corny to me.
But the reality is Wayne did the same thing to Juvie.
It is. And, I didn't like 500 Degrees either. To be honest with you, 500 Degrees sucked to me compared to 400 Degrees. But the Barter 6, I'm not even putting that in my spirit. I'm not putting that in my headphones. That's not going to be on my iTunes, Spotify, iHeart, Pandora, Tidal, playlist. I don't give a fuck.
I was not a Young Thug fan really until this album, until I really got to really see what his, work of, his album was really about. But the one thing that's interesting that I respect somewhat with Young Thug is he actually is going after Lil Wayne's spot.
No, he's not.
Playing Lil Wayne's hometown, calling his album
Let me tell you something.
the Carter 6, or trying to call it before.
Whack. You're playing yourself. You're setting yourself up for failure, Young Thug. And I'm going to tell you why. Be the best Young Thug you can be. Because people fuck with Young Thug.
Right.
Like Vlad is in here. You clearly like Young Thug.
Yeah, I like the album.
People like Young Thug. He only sold 18,000 records his first week. Right. So whatever fan base you do have, keep capitalizing off of that and keep being the best Young Thug you can be. You can't be that young man, Lil Wayne. Lil Wayne, and this is the thing about being a legend. Or just, not even just being a legend, this is just the era we live in. Nobody cares about equity anymore. Like, we're looking at Lil Wayne right now, we're saying, okay, Lil Wayne's kind of cold, none of his music is really sticking, we don't know what the situation is with his label, when his album's gonna come out.
Carter 5, we don't know, right.
But, this guy's been doing it since 1996.
Right, but this is hip hop. In hip hop, the new artists, new artists go after the established artists.
And they lose.
Nope, not always.
It's a great possibility.
Kool Moe Dee.
What about him?
He went after Busy B, and what happened?
Who is Busy B?
Come on, stop it.
I don't know who Busy. I know who Busy B is.
Wait, you're joking right now?
I'm dead serious. Who's Busy B?
Okay, Busy B was one of the major New York artists at the time.
Okay.
And when Kool Moe, but his shit was like party rhymes, like to the hip, to the hop,
Oh, that was before my
era.
I remember Kool Moe D.
No, I mean, we're talking about
went after Kool Moe. I remember that.
No, right, yeah. So, but before LL went after Kool Moe D went after Busy B. He actually battled him on stage to the point where Busy B said, "This is why I'm on his dick." Like, you know what I'm saying? Busy Bee gave it up.
You're not going to win no battles saying that you're under competition's dick.
Well, I mean, he knew he lost. That's why. I mean, he gave it up. Because Kool Moe Dee came with that lyrical shit. He's one of the first ones to actually do that.
Okay.
You know,
I'm going to give you a better example. 5 years from now, not even 5 years, 2 years from now, it's a great chance we won't even be talking about Young Thug. It's a great chance. I'll give you a great example. LL Cool J, Cannabis. LL, OG, legend, Mad Equity. Here comes this new guy named Cannabis.
Right.
He comes out, gets at him, second round knockout. Oh, goes right after him, puts the mic on his arm. Where is Cannabis now?
Big difference between Cannabis and Young Thug.
How? Cannabis was the hot guy at the time.
Nope.
Vlad, stop it. At the time,
Cannabis
was the guy.
Wait.
Everybody was loving Cannabis.
Here's the big difference. Name me a Cannabis hit record.
Doesn't matter.
Name me a Cannabis hit record.
It doesn't
Cannabis
matter.
was a hot mixtape rapper.
But he was the guy.
Mixtape rapper only in New York where they had mixtapes.
It was Cannabis. It was DMX. It was Cameron. Those were all the new guys. Remember that Source magazine where they had all the new guys on the front? It was Cannabis, DMX, Cameron, Big Pun. Corrupt was on there. It was all the guys that were leading in the new generation. Nori.
Right.
Cannabis was the guy.
Let me put it like this. When Cannabis dropped his album and there were no hit songs on
sucked.
that album.
No, the album sucked.
Right. Whereas Young Thug has had a bunch of hits now.
He's no Lil Wayne, man.
I'm not saying he's Lil Wayne, but I'm just saying that this is what happens, man. Like,
this is not going to be a 50 Cent Ja Rule situation. It's not.
Once again, another example of a new guy going after an established artist.
Yeah, but 50 was actually one of those dudes. He was actually poised to be a really legendary guy, and he backed it up. Young Thug is not going to back it up. He can't do it. It's just, listen, it's just not in him. I could be wrong, but I just don't ever see him replacing Lil Wayne's spot. It's just not happening. Lil Wayne's a legend. We got to start giving Lil Wayne the respect he deserves, man. For whatever reason, we don't look at Wayne like that. Solo album-wise, in a group with the Hot Boys, as a CEO with Young Money introducing Drake and Nicki Minaj. I'm not a fan of new Lil Wayne music at all, but we got to start giving him the respect he deserves. It's disrespectful to say this guy, Young Thug, who really, honestly, what hit record does he have by himself? Hit record by itself.
He's on a lot of hit records, but
he's on a lot. He's on some good records that are popping, but he don't have no hit records by himself. Wayne has hit records by himself. It's not even close.
Yeah, that's a fair point.
It's not close.
But he was kind of the main guy in Rich Gang. When you listen to Rich Gang, you were listening to Young Thug. You weren't really checking.
I like Rich Homie Quan better than Young Thug.
Really?
Yes, honestly. I think Rich Homie Quan is actually dope. I
dope.
like Rich Homie because except when he do that dance. I hate that dance he be doing. That dumbass dance. I don't know what the fuck is going on with that dance. That shit looks silly to me. But Rich Homie Quan makes good records. And he makes other people's records sound good when he's on there doing hooks and stuff. I personally like Rich Homie Quan more than Young Thug. I think Rich Homie Quan is going to be around longer than Young Thug.
Lil Wayne's bus got shot up.
I love it.
You love it?
I love it, man. I get tired of hearing these motherfuckers just talk. You know what I'm saying? Like, you dissing Young Thug over here, Young Thug saying little things over there. Man, somebody do something. Ain't niggas supposed to be gangsters? If you're going to be about it, be about it, fool. You know what I'm saying? Like,
And I'm not saying that Young Thug was involved in the shooting.
Yeah.
Because we don't know.
I don't know. It happened in Atlanta.
You
know?
Yeah, but I heard Young Thug actually, the word was that Young Thug actually tried to go to Lil Wayne's bus and, stuff like that, right before it happened. And, you know what I mean? Like,
listen, if somebody would have got shot or killed, I'd have been like, yo, that's fucked up. That's not what hip hop is about. But since nobody got shot and killed and the only thing that got hurt was a bus, hey, man, do that shit some more, man. I like those type of headlines, man. You know what I'm saying? Shoot in the air sometime. Just make me think that shit can get real. Don't you get tired of just seeing these motherfucking rappers talk about it and not be about it? Back in the day, rappers was about it. It's dead. It's dead rappers, right? That have gotten shot and killed over beef.
A lot of them.
Yeah, I just want to reiterate that point. Shit was real back then. All of this Instagramming and saying shit on stage and all that. Man, do something. Fist fight or something. We ain't seen that in hip hop in a minute. When the last time two rappers fought?
Fist fight. The entourages are too big now. The
they was big back then.
Yeah.
Back in the day, Source Awards, motherfuckers used to get it popping.
Right.
Man, yo. The immortal Suge Knight had somebody swing on Dr. Dre at an award show.
Right.
Then G-Unit stabbed that motherfucker.
Not even G-Unit, Young Buck.
Young Buck! To me, it's the same thing with the riots. Cause and effect. Back in the day, you said some crazy shit about somebody. The effect was somebody was gonna come see you. Now, we don't know how a motherfucker may react, but sometimes it's just good to see a reaction. Niggas don't even rap no more. You used to diss me, at least I go make some bars about you. You don't even do that no more. So what the fuck are y'all talking about then? Stop talking. If you ain't gonna fight, if you ain't gonna shoot, if you ain't gonna stab, if you're not even gonna rap, then shut the fuck up.
Migos got locked up, and Offset is still in jail right now. Matter of fact, I just interviewed OG Mako, who's part of the same label, Quality Control, and he was saying how literally half the label's in jail right now.
The Migos will be all right. You know what I'm saying? Offset will go to jail. You might have to do a year or two, but the good thing about that group situation is it was a time where people only thought it was two Migos.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? Because Takeoff and Quavo was holding it down, and they was putting away money for Offset. So if you got homeboys like that that's putting money away for you.
They were actually putting money away from him?
Yeah, I mean, that's what they told me. I don't know. When we interviewed them on the Breakfast Club, that's what they said they used to do. They said they used to put money away for him, and then when he came home, he just came home to this nice little lump sum of money. So when you got dudes,
you don't see that.
Nah, when you got dudes that hold you down like that, and the fact that people already thought it was only two of them anyway, they'll be fine. Migos gonna keep going.
Migos surprised me. Because I remember when I first heard him, I remember Coach K, I was in Atlanta, Coach K, got this new group, because he was kind of transitioning away from Gucci at that point. And I heard, I'm like, I don't get it. And then, Versace came out, but I felt at that point it was just all about Drake. You know what I mean? Because, literally DJs would play Drake's verse and then go on to a different song.
See, that's interesting you say that, because I don't even feel like Young Thug, and I say I'm using this as an example because they all seem like they came from the same class. Young Thug hasn't gotten as big as the Migos. And the Migos, like when you think of Atlanta breakout stars, you think about Jeezy, you think about T.I., you think about Ludacris, Lil Jon, all those guys. Those guys were superstars. But then you had the 2 Chainz, and then you had even Gucci Mane, Future, Migos. Thug haven't gotten to that level of those guys, to me. So how can he get as big as Lil Wayne?
Bruce Jenner. Did you watch the interview?
I watched the hour of it, and then I got disgusted, and I fucking turned it off. And the reason I got disgusted because I felt like my intelligence was being insulted. And the reason I felt like my intelligence was being insulted because I'm watching the interview and Bruce Jenner says, for all intents and purposes, he's a woman. And I said, dope, you know what I'm saying? I'm gonna give you the respect you deserve and address you as a woman. So then he goes, I'm heterosexual. So I'm thinking in my mind, all right, he's a heterosexual woman, so he sleeps with men. But then he goes,
he sleeps with women.
He sleeps with women. So I tweet out, well, Bruce, you're not a heterosexual, you're a lesbian. My whole timeline goes crazy. Fuck you, you transphobic, ignorant motherfucker. Don't know what the fuck you talking about. Transgender don't mean gay. I'm like, whoa, what the fuck? And then what was Diane Sawyer's next question, literally? So are you a lesbian? So is Diane Sawyer transphobic for asking a common sense question? My whole life I've been taught that if a woman sleeps with a woman, that makes that woman a lesbian. So if you're telling me that Bruce is not a lesbian, but he's heterosexual, then you're acknowledging that Bruce isn't even really what? A woman. So why are we even having a special? So being that I felt like my intelligence was being insulted and I started to get confused and nobody, in the transgender community wanted to actually have a conversation. They just wanted to attack, because for whatever reason they felt like, I was attacking, which I wasn't. It's a genuine question, a genuine statement. Maybe I should have asked the question. Maybe I should have done what Diane Sawyer said, so if he's not heterosexual, does that mean he's a lesbian? But I didn't. I made a statement because that's just my common sense.
Right before, you and I started talking, literally about an hour before, I interviewed Antoine Dodson. So Antoine Dodson was gay for a large portion of his life. He wasn't even bisexual, he was gay. And at a certain point, he said, I'm no longer interested in being gay, I'm now straight. And he went, got a girl, she got pregnant, he has a son, they have a family, and now and we had this really kind of interesting conversation about whether homosexuality is something you're born with, which is what I think the gay community tries to push, You know, there's no choice. We're born this way. This is what it is. Versus a choice. Because he was actually, when he said 11 or 12 years old, he was like snatched up at the corner store and raped by a man.
God damn. That would personally turn me off from being gay. I would hate dick if I got snatched up and raped.
And, you know, he also talked about how he grew up with a single mother and 3 sisters, and, you know, this was sort of, you know, females was the only thing that he really had around him for a long time, blah, blah. So he became an effeminate gay man, you know, and he said he's had like 200 or 300 fights over it, and, you know, and stuff like that. But at one point he said, I didn't want to be gay anymore, and I made the choice to be straight. And he feels that being gay is a choice. And it's also he feels that being gay is a product of your experiences as opposed to something that's just inherently inside of you.
I don't know, to be honest with you. I mean, I can see it both ways. You know what I mean? I mean, personally, if you ask me, I think people are born homosexual.
You think so?
Absolutely. And the reason I think you're born homosexual because, you know, they say it's a choice, but what if you've never wanted to make that choice? What if your whole life you know, have been attracted to men? You know, like what if your whole life you've been just naturally attracted to men? And I think sometimes you have these guys who their whole life they have been naturally attracted to men, but they decide to sleep with a woman because they feel like that's what they're supposed to do because they're men. But then they sleep with the woman and realize it's not what I like. I like guys. My whole thing when it comes to homosexuality, I can't tell a homosexual why they feel the way they feel. Like I just think that's ridiculous. I think it's ridiculous for me to say, you know you weren't born that way. How the fuck do I know? So if one homosexual tells me, yo, I was born this way, I've always liked guys, but then you talk to somebody like Antoine Dodson whose experiences were very traumatic and different, so maybe I don't know. I just know that I can't tell a homosexual how they should feel. If Antoine Dodson doesn't want to sleep with men no more, and he doesn't feel like he was born a homosexual, maybe that's his experience.
Yeah.
But I can't say that the guy who is a gay man and living his life as a gay man wasn't born that way. I can't sit here and tell him, hey, you know you're just making a choice to be gay.
I actually was with Eric Sermon last night, you know, at the 16 and Better. Jack Thriller was throwing. And me and him were talking because he was on TMZ the other day where they asked him, I think they asked him about Bruce Jenner, and it kind of led into, you know, him saying that he doesn't think that hip hop would accept transgender artists.
Bullshit. I mean, I'm gonna be totally honest with you. I think when it comes to Bruce Jenner, I think Bruce Jenner is transgender because, you know, and I just learned this because somebody took the time to teach me. Transgender is a man that identifies with being a woman, right? Which I think is a little bit disrespectful because how the hell do we know how women feel?
Right.
It's almost like appropriation in a way. If Iggy Azalea was to come out right now and say, my whole life I felt like a black woman, we'd have a fit because we don't know. As a man, I don't know how a woman feels. What does that even mean? I feel like a woman. I mean,
you don't have ovaries.
I'm not even talking from a biological standpoint. Just what does a woman feel like?
Well,
you know?
but I'm saying, but the biological part has to do with the feelings.
Young Thug wears dresses.
Right.
He wears leggings. He's put on nail polish.
Right.
You know, that's.
He said he's smoking penises.
Yeah, that's cross-dressing.
Right.
Right? Mm-hmm. So technically, hip-hop kind of has already accepted the transgender cross-dressing way of life.
Yeah.
And I'm not saying, I don't know, Young Thug is not a transgender,
but
he's clearly a cross-dresser. And I think Bruce is more cross-dresser than actual transgender. Which I can't blame him for, because I mean, yo, you in the house with the Kardashian Jenners, they got some hot ass clothes. You might want to throw some of that shit on every now and then.
I don't know about all that.
You know, I don't know. I'm just saying. You know, I'm looking.
I've been around a lot of beautiful women in my day, and I've never wanted to try on their outfits.
Kardashian Jenners be wearing some fly shit. I wouldn't do it, but I can see how you could just be sitting around, bored. Like, yo, that's hot. Let me throw this on real quick.
He was talking about he was like this when he was a little kid. I mean, at least that's what he's saying in the
I mean, listen, hey, I'm gonna be honest. If I was a transgender, I would be upset because ABC put this 2-hour special on Diane Sawyer. I don't think Bruce Jenner should be the face of the transgender community because I feel like it's people that have really committed to being women, and by committed I mean got the penis cut off,
Right.
got the breasts.
Yeah.
Like those people, I'm like, wow.
Well, I mean, he's gotten his Adam's apple shaved off.
Cut your dick off. I like people that commit to things. It's not even just about Bruce Jenner. I like people that commit. You can't have 1 foot in, 1 foot out.
Right.
You can't tell me you identify as a woman,
You gotta
but then
be
you're
about that
heterosexual. You still
Right.
sleep with women. If you're gonna be about that life, be about that life. Okay? Because if you say, hey, I feel like a woman, number one thing when you feel like a woman, reach down in your pants.
Right.
If you still got a dick, you can't really feel like a woman. Commit.
People who say, I'm not really feeling this Bruce Jenner thing, everyone jumps on it. The same way that people jumped on you on Twitter. Like, you can't say, I'm not really feeling this. Like, I remember Steve Harvey said, hey man, look, he could do what he wants, but I can go home to my family and tell him something like that. And everyone was jumping on him and attacking him and calling him homophobic and stuff like that.
Nah, I don't think he was homophobic. I think what Steve was saying is, in a way, Steve was giving Bruce props. Steve was like, I couldn't do that. You know what I'm saying? Like, when you talk about, to me, when you talk about Bruce Jenner being brave, that is brave to have been married 3 times, have had all of these kids, and then have to face your family and tell your family, look, man, my whole life I've identified as a woman. To them, that's brave. To the world, I don't care.
I find it a little odd, for example, that, you know, the Kardashians are so much behind him and supportive, and, you know, when Chris Humphries made that one kind of, you know, offhand, you know, tweet, you know, I'm glad I got out or something like that. Everyone jumped on him, but at the end of the day, Kris Jenner ain't married, you know, to Bruce anymore. From what he actually said in the interview, that she actually, you know, got the divorce.
I think that's bullshit. I think this is all a Kris Jenner marketing plan. First of all, let's be clear. When it comes to them Kardashian Jenners, we got to start talking about them as one of the greatest dynasties of all time. Like, they're up there with Wu-Tang, Rockefeller, Bad Boy.
Yeah, I mean, you can say that.
Like, they're up there. This, to me, I think this was all a Kris Jenner marketing plan. And I really feel like, yo.
You think Kris Jenner got Bruce to go through all this?
No, I think that this is who Bruce is. But they're like, yo, let's make this pop for the family. Okay. 2-hour special. They play Brody Jenner's music during the special. And
really?
Yes, Brody Jenner, they play his music during the special. They promote Bruce Jenner's upcoming reality show this summer, which is going to be through the roof with numbers. And ABC gets to promote a transgender show that they have coming on. It was a big 2-hour-long commercial. Like, Bruce is not the first transgender. He's not the first transgender. He's probably the most famous transgender ever, based off the family that he's attached to.
Right.
But he's not the first transgender.
There's RuPaul.
You listen, it's so many people you could have did a special on. You could have did a special on RuPaul. What's the tennis player who's a transsexual who actually had the full operation and everything? I can't remember her name. But there's people out here who have become full-blown women. If you're really trying to shine a light on the transgender, transsexual community, go get somebody who's really fully committed. Go get somebody who's had the full surgery and can really speak about the transgender rules and regulations. Because I don't know what the transgender rules and regulations are, and I want to know. Because I'm a person that likes to have knowledge of things. So don't insult me because I make a statement that Bruce Jenner is not a heterosexual, he's a lesbian. I'm not trying to insult that man. That's just a common sense thing. I'm paying y'all respect because I'm calling this man a woman.
Right.
You know, and saying he sleeps with other women, so he's a lesbian. So don't jump down my throat and say, you're transphobic and ignorant and transgender don't mean gay. Well, what does it mean? That's all I want to know. What does it mean?
Tiger got a Kylie tattoo on his arm. You saw it?
I did see it. It don't bother me. It depends what state he got it in. The state he got it in, you know, the legal age of consent, 17. If so, fine. You know, if not, he's an idiot because he only got a few more months. Look at the calendar, Tiger.
So Kylie Jenner is going to be 18 August 10th.
August 10th.
4 months from now.
4 months. So Tiger, you could have waited to get the tattoo, but I think what happened was Black China put them text messages out. Kylie got on that ass. So Tiger had to prove himself real quick, get that tattoo on the arm. Tiger's a smart man. He don't want to lose that investment.
You smart.
Yeah, man. Tiger been redshirting Kylie for a minute. You don't redshirt her now. In a few months she'll be ready to play. And now she goes and plays for another team because you fucked it up, Tiger.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? Like Tiger, like I told you, he been redshirting that girl, man. Had her on the bench, teaching her the plays. She gonna be ready to go. Listen, as soon as Kylie turned 18, and no guys want to say this now because they don't want to sound like creeps, but as soon as Kylie turns 18, you're gonna start hearing all of these guys saying, yo, she bad, like Kylie bad. Nobody wants to say that now because she's 17. Wait till she turn 18 and watch how the conversation just changes.
What do you think about the lips?
Lips look fine to me.
I mean, but the lips have been altered.
So? I'm not one of those guys that give a fuck about surgery. Like, I don't care. As long as you're not looking crazy, do your thing. I like surgical enhancements. Enhancements mean that they enhance whatever it is you already got going on. Her lips look nice. Her ass looks nice. You start looking ridiculous when you start looking like Michael Jackson. That's not an enhancement.
Right,
you start looking fucked up.
A lot of times that's where it leads. You know, because the thing, I remember I watched an interview with a plastic surgeon. He said, the biggest problem with plastic surgery is that it works so well the first time.
Yeah.
And then, you know, and you think, I'm going to keep going. Wow, it works so well. Let me get another one that's going to work just as well. But the second time, you don't get that same level of improvement. Well, and then it starts to cycle.
Well, the Kardashians clearly know how to stop.
Do they?
Look at them. They're fine. Kim's beautiful. Khloe got some stuff done, I'm sure, because her ass wasn't always that fat. She's fine. Courtney's fine. Chris looks good. Bruce is going to look amazing. Okay? Do you wait till if Bruce goes all the way through with this transformation, he's going to look amazing. Watch. Mark my words.
What's your take on Blac Chyna?
She's cool.
Blac Chyna got a lot of work done.
Oh yeah, I don't know, to be honest with you.
Yeah.
I saw Blac Chyna in the Bahamas once. She got a fat ass. Like I ain't mad at Tiger for shooting that club up. You know what I mean? But I mean, I think if Tiger was really playing his card right, he could have had both of them. You know?
You think Kylie would have been okay with him still being with Blac Chyna?
She's 17.
You think Blac Chyna?
She's young.
Blac Chyna's in a girl, so I mean, Blac Chyna probably would have been okay with it. So I'm sure that. Well, you know, from what I remember when I interviewed Molly Mall, he told me that Blac Chyna's in a girl, so apparently they were having threesomes and stuff like that.
I don't know about all that, but I know Kylie's young, impressionable. Tiger could have molded that young mind into what he wanted it to be. Okay? But he committed himself to her. So now that's what she expects. Commitment. So now Tiger, if he's smart, he got to play it all the way through. Because, boy, you're going to look crazy if somebody else scoops her up. Don't think for 1 second it's not these multi-millionaire young basketball players, football players, rappers, scoping out Kylie, man. Wait till she turns 18. When Kylie turns 18, she's going to be the hottest chick in the game.
You think?
Watch. She comes out this summer, she's number one. Without question.
We had Lord Jamar and Star on here a couple months ago. And, you know, we talked about a bunch of stuff. And the one thing that really triggered a viral video was the debate over Eminem being the king of hip hop.
Nah, he's not the king of hip hop.
Okay, why is that?
He's just not. Like, it's just different. It's artists that have had more of a cultural impact and have impacted people more than Eminem has. And that's what I look at. I don't even look at like record sales and things of that nature. I mean, you can bring all that into play if you want to, but I'm just talking about off straight impact and influence. Nah. I mean, if you want to really say who's the kings of hip hop, man, you got to say Tupac, Biggie, Jay-Z. Those are the three most influential rappers ever. Those are the three most impactful rappers ever. All across the board, no matter what region you go to, no matter if you talk to male, female, black, white, whoever, Biggie, Jay-Z, Tupac. And if you want to say who's the king, I mean, I'm gonna give it to Hov, but I can easily see why you would give it to Pac too. You know?
Even though Eminem sold 50% more albums than Jay-Z.
It's not about record sales, it's about influence. I bet you Eminem is influenced by Hov.
Yeah.
Without question.
Well, you know, I mean, me and Dr. Boyce Watkins had this debate, you know, and you know, we were talking about how he goes, well, record sales really don't determine how great an artist is.
And he's right, though.
When you look at all the biggest selling artists of all time, they're all phenomenal artists.
Yeah.
Michael Jackson, the Eagles, the
But
Beatles.
Vanilla Ice sold 8-9 million records.
But he's not one of the top selling. He didn't sell 100 million records.
No.
You know what I'm saying? Like you could luck up on a few million albums. I mean, shit. Let me tell you something. Antoine Dodson has a fucking platinum single. Anyone could go platinum. Mm-hmm. But when you're talking about consistently platinum every time you come out over and over, and you're talking about diamond, like Antoine Dodson can't go diamond. You know what I'm saying? Like you know.
Listen, I'm not knocking M at all. M is phenomenal, and I always said it. I've said it on Vlad TV numerous amounts of times. The reason Eminem doesn't get the props he deserves is because he is white.
Right.
It's just almost like I don't want to say unwritten rule because that wouldn't be the right word. It's just like I just say like an underlying thing that, yeah, he's dope, but he's white.
Right. He's dope for a white rapper.
He's dope for a white rapper. Same thing they say about females. He's dope. She's dope for a female rapper.
Right.
So being that he has that asterisk for being white, it kind of
right, because notice how
disqualifies him.
Notice how you didn't mention Nicki. You know, you mentioned Tupac, blah, 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 but Nicki is, I mean, what did she say? She's the biggest selling female rapper of all time or something like
Nicki
that?
not on that level. I mean, come on, I love Nicki, but Nicki's not, that's like, we're talking about icons. Nicki's still growing. Like, and that's the other thing, you got a lot of people time to grow. I don't even put LeBron James as an icon yet. Give him some time to build his legacy. Yo, he bring a championship to Cleveland. That changes everything. Now it's like, whoa. LeBron left Cleveland, went to Miami, got 2, went to the finals 4 times, then went back to Cleveland and bought Cleveland their first championship. Now you're talking some icon shit.
Right.
Is Eminem an icon? Absolutely.
Absolutely.
Is he a king? Absolutely. Is he the king? Hey man, not to me, but it depends who you ask. Nobody, listen, Star's not wrong. Jamal's not right. Jamal's not wrong. Star's not right. It's just a good debate, a good conversation.
Which will never have a real answer.
It'll never have an answer. You're going to look at these YouTube comments right now and all you're going to see is, Charlamagne be on Jay-Z. Dick! You know what I'm saying?
Right.
But it's and guess what? Jay's one of my favorite rappers, but he's not my favorite rapper.
Right.
But I can still acknowledge and say, yo, to me, he's the greatest of all time. My favorite rapper is Ghostface.
Right.
Killer Mike's one of my favorite rappers. Jeezy's one of my favorite rappers. T.I.
Yeah.
You know, Nas, those are my favorites. Nobody's right, nobody's wrong. You can run Eminem stats and you're like, yeah. You can run Jay stats, you're like, yeah. You can run Biggie stats, even though he had a short career, like, yo, ain't nobody know nothing fucking with life after death or ready to die.
Yeah.
That shit is phenomenal. Pac speaks for itself. Like, so that who's the king of hip hop question, there is no right answer. And then guess what? Nobody ever names the gods from the 80s. Nobody ever says Rakim.
People say Rakim.
Big Daddy Kane, Slick Rick.
Matter of fact, people usually say Rakim in terms of like the best rappers.
Depends how old you are.
Kanye. I remember I had a talk with Twister.
I think the difference between him going over to Adidas versus Nike is losing the Nike head, you know.
Yeah.
So the main people that will gravitate towards the new shoe would be because they are fans of him. Yeah. And not the shoe, you know. So that's the one thing that he will lose is the Nike heads. But then at the same time, he gains all the Adidas heads. And even though it might not be the same amount, for him it might be enough.
The Yeezy Boost dropped, and the exact same thing happened.
I don't know, man. It didn't feel like it.
Yeah, it feels like it. I mean, when you look at, okay, well, let's put it like this. When you look at the resale value of the Adidas Yeezys and you compare it to the Nike Yeezys, it's very similar. It's all like $2,000-$3,000. Like, you know what I'm saying? It's pretty much right there. The Yeezys are not sitting on the shelf. You could not go buy a pair. You know what I mean? And that's one of the things that kind of annoyed me a little bit about this whole situation, because I remember Kanye talking about that whole situation, saying, yeah, Nikes was stifling me, like I couldn't even get a pair for my friends, you know, and at least with Adidas, you'll be able to go in the store and hold it and check it out and, you know, purchase a pair if you really love it, and blah, blah, and that motherfucker sold out in fucking 3 seconds. And
Can you now? You still can't?
Absolutely not.
Maybe Yeezy underestimated himself. That's all that was. He underestimated himself, you know, because I'm sure that they have them in stock, but maybe they just keep selling. I mean, I do see them. I see them a lot. I see a lot of people rocking them.
You see people wearing them, but you don't see them in stores.
Yeah, I don't see them in stores.
Well, especially when New York was one of these places where a bunch of stores in New York actually got them.
Gotcha.
During, I believe, All-Star Weekend. You know what I'm saying? So you're going to see more in New York than you're going to see in other places. But let me tell you, as someone who owns Sneaker Watch and deals with the pulse of the resale market and everything else like that, because Sneaker Watch is an e-commerce site, you cannot, like, these things are just as hard to get as the fucking Red Octobers or whatever else.
I mean, I think it depends what you're comparing the Yeezys to, too. I mean, if you're comparing them to Jordans, nothing's going to ever top Jordan. And it's still, right now to this day, nothing puts motherfuckers in a frenzy like a pair of J's. Right now to this day.
The Adidas Yeezys?
No.
I'm telling you. I mean, he even said it, like the Yeezy jumped over the Jumpman or something.
I mean, it
like
sounds good in the rap, but it ain't true. Jordan been selling us the same sneaker for 30 years. And we still eat it up like it's brand new. You know how hard it is to sell anything for 30 years? And he ain't doing nothing different.
Right. I mean,
no new colorways.
No, I mean, there's always new colorways.
I mean, it's new colorways, but I'm talking about for the majority of the time, it's the same old sneaker. I'm waiting for the Cement 3s to come out again. I need a fresh pair of Cement 3s. I mean, I still don't like the Air Yeezys. I got a pair, not the whatever the shit called. What they call Yeezy Boost?
Yeah, you got a pair?
I got a pair.
You don't wear them?
No, I never wore them. Size 12. Kanye gave them to me. I wish I would have got the box autographed.
Oh, really?
Yeah, he gave them to me personally.
So Jim Jones had a pair of, extremely rare Jordans, right? And Jim Jones is a real hardcore sneakerhead. And he put this out, and everyone's like, fake, 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 fake. So he actually had us come out, meet up with him, and brought, and then basically we got this guy Soli Ghost, who's considered one of like the world experts on sneakers and stuff like that. And they were basically debating whether these are real or not.
I mean, I knew they were 100% not authentic. Yeah. I mean, you could go to 50 Chinese replica websites and the same exact shoe was up there for sale.
Right.
After I told him that, obviously through FaceTime, you can't really tell over the phone. So he was like, come in and check them out. So I agreed to come here today, obviously, to look at them in person.
And and he accepted it. He goes, okay, well, I mean, it looks like my connect. And this happens. It's no shot against Jim Jones at all, because at the end of the day, these fucking fakes these days are so good you can't even really tell. But what's your take on fake sneakers in general?
I mean, you can rock fake sneakers. I wouldn't do it, but it depends who you are. Like, Jim Jones could have got away with that because he's Jim Jones. Yeah. Nobody's gonna look at Jim Jones and be like, oh, he got on fake sneakers. You know what I mean? Because he's Jim Jones. They know he got money. You know what I'm saying? They know he probably got connections that they don't have. So you can get away with it. So it just depends who you are. You know what I mean? If you're just, random Joe Blow who goes to school here in New York in 9th grade, I wouldn't put on no fake sneakers. They go clown the shit out of you. You know what I mean? But it really just depends who you are. Like, I can't tell a pair of fake Jordans unless Michael Jordan got a blunt hanging out his motherfucking lips. The Jumpman does. The Jumpman has a blunt hanging out his lips. But other than that, it just depends who you are. You know how many motherfuckers wear fake shit? Motherfuckers wear celebrities. Fake fair coats, fake chains, fake jewelry.
Fake belts,
fake sneakers, and nobody ever pays any attention because of who they are.
You're hopping out of a Bentley, you assume everything's real.
It don't matter.
Because a Bentley's not fake.
And it depends who you're around all the time. If I got a pair of fake sneakers and I know I'm around some motherfucking sneakerheads who know about their shit, I'm just not gonna wear that around them.
Right, that day.
You know what I'm saying? But if I'm just walking up in some place where I know nobody ain't really up on the game like that, will say, yo, where you get that from? It's my plug, B. You got a good plug, Keep it moving.
Yeah. Well, I mean, it's interesting as someone who, once I started, making decent money, I started buying designer stuff. I started buying Gucci, Louis Vuitton, and stuff like that. And like, for example, like the one thing I learned kind of early on was like how bad of an investment like designer belts are. You know what I mean? Like, I used to have Gucci, Louis Vuitton belts and stuff like that, but it's like they get beat up all to death. You know what I mean? Like, they get stretched out, beat up, they fall apart, they're expensive as shit. And then, after owning a couple of these, it's like, why am I even buying these anymore?
That's how I feel about a lot of different things in life. You know what I'm saying? I used to tell people all the time, especially when
throwback?
The Cuban link chains.
Oh, Cuban link chains, yeah.
Like, yo, go buy a fake one. Go buy a gold-plated $2,000 Cuban link chain. Nobody will know the motherfucking difference.
And it's gonna be played out at one point anyway.
It's gonna be played out in a minute
Gonna go
any
back to
fucking
rope
way.
chains.
Yeah, who gives a shit?
Did you hear how Kanye West is joining Diddy's Hitmen? Was D-Dot part of the Hitmen?
Yep.
Okay, and Kanye came up under D-Dot.
Oh, he did?
He did.
Oh, okay.
He did. So there's a history
Gotcha.
of this type of thing. You know what I mean? Yeah, and Diddy actually put it up on Instagram.
I don't give a shit. I don't understand why Kanye would sign with the Hitman. I mean, Kanye is a super producer. He don't got to be part of no collective. Like, if Kanye was to be a part of a collective, he should do something different. Like him, Pharrell, and Timbaland and should get together and, you know, be a collective. Him, Dr. Dre and Just Blaze, Swiss and Kanye. Like, I don't see the point of him being a part of the Hitman. Like, Diddy probably his man, so he's like, yeah, I'll do it. Like, for what? You Kanye West. You stand alone. Like, nobody, it's going, listen, it's going to always say this record was produced by Kanye West in the Hitman. It's not going to be the Hitman, and you're wondering, well, who produced this? Was it D-Dot? Was it Stevie J? Was it Kanye? Was it like, why? Like,
That's
no,
never going to happen.
No.
You know, Nelly, I guess, left Republic and now is working on a country album.
If I was Nelly, I wouldn't fuck with y'all niggas no more neither. Y'all niggas left me for dry. You know, I came out, I blew up in the pop world. I still kept it hood. You know, I even did a fucking reality show on BET. And now when I put my music out, y'all don't support me.
And he's worked on country records before.
Exactly. So I'm gonna go where the love at. I'm gonna go with who's still booking me for shows. You know what I mean? Because those white people overseas and even in the States are still booking Nelly to come rock these festivals. You know, he's still getting looks. He came with awards. He was at the Country Music Awards. He came out and performed.
Right.
You know what I mean? They still showing me love for my music over here. And not only that, I came out and performed at the Country Music Awards, then hit him with one of my records. I think he did Ride With Me or whatever, and crowd went crazy. I'm going to do this goddamn country album. Fuck you niggas. Now I don't have no problem with that whatsoever. He's going where the love is at.
I mean, you know, you've seen rappers do that before. I mean, Kid Rock went, you know, rock country. Yellow Wolf's new album has a lot of country influence on it. You know what I'm saying? So this is not the first rapper to do that.
Nah, I don't have no
I think he's just the first black rapper to do it.
Listen, man, I don't have no problem with people, you know, expanding outside of their genres. Like I've said numerous amounts of times, like I don't like when Drake sings, but he's good at it. And people like it. I just don't personally enjoy it. But if he decided to put out a whole R&B album, I wouldn't buy it, but I don't buy none of his music. Right. But I'm sure he's got an audience that would.
Well, you know, I remember, you know, me and my assistant were actually talking about how, you know, his last album, you know, if you're, you know, his last mixtape album, whatever, if you're reading This Is Too Late, it was all like, that's like the most like rap album he's ever put out. And, you know, like, he was thinking, you know, my assistant was actually thinking that he did that because his real album is going to be all R&B.
It could be. That's possible. I mean, I think what Nelly is doing is kind of dope because Nelly may have fans. It may be fans that love that record with Tim McGraw and may have been saying, why doesn't this guy do a whole country album? This is really good. I like this Nelly guy.
Right.
He put out that country record. People fucked with it. He did the CMAs. He probably gets love in that arena.
Right.
And it's like, yo, man, this hip-hop shit ain't really working for me right now. Let me go try this. I'm a musician.
That's what it is.
You good?
My man.